76. Custer is approached these mountains over here behind us. It's approximately 13 miles away, and from there is when he spots the combined Indian force, which is arrayed more or less along the river over here behind us. Okay, so it's at this point that he decides to split up his forces into three groups under Major Reno, Captain Benteen, and himself. Major Reno he sends over here down to the right, well, it'd be his left, down here to attack the Indians through this forest over here. Benteen moves up and occupies this hill right around here, and Custer goes along over here to the right. Move down to this location. You can turn it off. Okay. So at this point, Major Reno has taken his 175 soldiers, and he has moved down here into these woods to attack the Indian forces. Realizing he's very outnumbered, he withdraws back through these woods, ultimately ending up back here where he joins in with Captain Benteen. Okay, so we continue on with Reno's retreat. Cross the river, the Little Bighorn, right down here, and then try to escape up into these ravines right here, ultimately rejoining with Benteen over there at our last location. So you get an idea of the ground right here. This is not very easy ground to move across. There's some fairly deep ravines and some very steep hills, so this is not easy to maneuver on. Reappearing on the ridgelines over here. So Reno is involved in it. Reno has been soundly defeated down here, and he is retreating to rejoin up with Benteen. You can see those cars over there. Custer, meanwhile, is making his way north over here on the other side of this ridge. This is the point where Custer begins to enter the battle. Now he has come around here, around to the northeast, and he's now at this point identified where the Indian encampment is over here behind us. And he's seeing the fighting going on with Major Reno over here. And so he comes down through this ravine right here in order to assist Reno with the attacking the Indian camp. Skipping ahead, later on after Custer's command is wiped out, spoiler alert, is the Indians take positions on this area, which is called Sharpshooter Ridge, where they're engaging Major Reno's and Captain Benteen's command over down this way. Okay, so this is, we're here at Weir Point. Much later in the battle, Custer has already been wiped out over here, if you can see that. And Major Benteen and Major Reno are back over here, and they don't know what's going on. They haven't seen Custer, they don't know what's happening. So they send Captain Weir and his company, his troop, come forward up to this location right here to be able to try to observe what's going on with Custer down here. But as he's arriving, the Indian force that just wiped out Custer is coming straight for him. So he's quickly pushed out of here and returned back to Benteen and Reno's location. Okay, we're here at Medicine Trail Coulee. This is where Custer has been moving in from over here, and at this point he splits his command yet again. Spoiler alert, it doesn't work well. He sends 3 companies or troops along this ridgeline over here, and 2 companies come down through this low ground right here. The idea of engaging the Indians who are still, he believes, still are in their camp. Trail forward. The Indian camp, or parts of the Indian encampment, are just over here. 2 of Custer's troops are coming down this way and into here where they encounter the Indians, but are quickly pushed back to rejoin the other 3 companies or troops that are moving over to Battlefield Ridge, which is where Custer's last stand occurs. We're here at Greasy Grass Ridge. Fun fact, many Native Americans refer to the Battle of Little Bighorn as the Battle of the Greasy Grass. So this is the ridge line where that name comes from. Basically, the Native Americans have chased the cavalry from back here behind us through the deep coulee all the way up here across this ridge right here. Ultimately, you can see the site of Custer's last stand down over there ahead of us. But right now, the Indians have occupied this ridge, and archaeologists have found a large number of shell casings hidden here, which indicates that there is a very sizable Indian force putting a considerable amount of gunfire against the cavalry. This area is called Lame White Man Charge. Contrary to popular belief, it was actually a Native American war band leader that was called Lame White Man. It was named after him. But basically, is the Indians were gathering here in a massed group, attacking the cavalry, and a single company, Charlie Company, C Company, basically counterattacked to try to disrupt the Indians. And it did not work. A large number of them were killed right here. As you can see, we've got a large number of grave markers right here, marking locations where cavalrymen fell. Okay. We're here on Calhoun Hill. At this point in the battle, Custer's 5 companies are beginning to consolidate up here on their way to what's known as Battle Ridge, or where his last stand occurs. This is called Calhoun Hill because Company L, under command of Captain Calhoun, coincidentally married to Custer's sister, had established a skirmish line right here and was engaging the Indians. The Indians overran most of his force and scattered the cavalry horses. A little bit you may not be aware is that often cavalry would move to battle on horse, but often fought on foot. If you ever try to fire a rifle from horseback, it's actually quite difficult. So cavalry would often form a skirmish line, and they would send 1 out of every 4 or every 5 troopers would go back and would be the horse holders, and they would hold the horses while the other 80% or so would be engaging the enemy. And so that is apparently what happened here, is that he had formed a skirmish line, he got overran, and then the horses got overran after that. Okay, so after the battle, most of the Native American casualties were recovered by their families and moved elsewhere for burial or whatever funeral rites that particular tribe did. So sometime later, fairly recently I want to say, in 1999 the Park Service began to put these red stone markers, the location where they believed that specific Native American personalities had fallen during the battlefield. Although it's estimated that total Native American casualties were only about 80 to 100 people. Here we have is let's consider the last stand of Captain Keogh. His company is he and some other companies are desperately trying to rejoin Custer. They've basically been in a running gunfight from all the way back over there, all the way along here, and attempting to rejoin Custer, located up over here. You can see by the grave markers right here, is that his command fell in a fairly close group right here. So it appears that he was trying to make a stand located right here before he got overwhelmed by the Native Americans, who eventually moved on to Custer, located over here. All right, we're here at the site of Custer's last stand. Here Custer and 41 American soldiers basically shot their horses to use as a makeshift barricade where they made their final stand. For a cavalryman to kill his horse, you're losing your mobility. And so this is really truly an act of a desperation on the last stand to do this, because then you're basically trapping yourself to this location. But that's what they did, and so this is where the approximately 41 bodies were recovered from right here, including Custer's. Don't know how true it is. I've heard it said that his body alone was unmarked, other than the crimes that caused his death. The Indians did not mutilate or scalp. That's Custer's last stand. I hope you enjoyed our trip through Little Bighorn Battlefield. The monument. This is the Custer National Cemetery. This is a still active national cemetery, although it is at capacity and they're no longer adding grave sites to it. This cemetery was founded just 3 years after the battle in 1876. up until I believe it was 1978, is that you could still be interred here as a veteran. So your graves in this cemetery from the Indian Wars through Spanish-American War, World War I, World War II, Korea, and Vietnam.